Shima. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to speak now. I thought there was another speaker before me. Thanks for inviting me to come and talk today. My name is Eleanor Hamlyn. I'm an HIV doctor working in London. And I'm going to talk to you about something that I've become really enthusiastic about, which is a weight loss program that we have introduced to our patients in our clinic. It's probably the only talk, the whole program, I think, that isn't actually specific to women. The program is available to men and women, and I'm presenting the results for both. But I'm sure we're all sort of very aware of the unique challenges that women face, balancing body image, healthy weight, and social and cultural expectations. I don't have any conflicts. So we know that obesity is we are currently in the midst of an obesity pandemic worldwide. There's lots of graphs like this available. This is from the WHO. The United States often sort of tops the charts, but Australia and United Kingdom up there as well. But all countries are seeing increasing rates of overweight and obesity, and this seems to have started around the mid-70s. I think we can probably all think of reasons that people living with HIV might be more overweight or find it harder to lose weight. So obesity rates in people living with HIV do mirror that of the general population, but because of some of these issues, they might find it harder to lose weight, particularly poor mental health, stress and low self-esteem, the stress of living with a chronic health condition, metabolic changes associated with HIV, and of course, medication. I think this is a really powerful photograph. This is Brighton Beach in 1976. Yeah. This was a very hot summer in the UK. This will probably be the most amazing fact you hear this entire conference. It did not rain for 46 days in the UK this summer. And apart from the sort of lack of diversity, I think what really striking about this photo is that you cannot see any overweight or obese people. So why is this? Well, the UK media would have us believe that it's our fault. We've all just got really lazy and fat and greedy, and we just need to eat less. But has there really just been a sudden global collective loss of willpower? It doesn't seem likely, does it? We're actually what we need to remember is that the way that our bodies respond to food is the result of tens of thousands of years of evolution. Actually, these foods that have been available to us in the last 70 years are really a sort of tiny drop in the ocean. And, compared to that, a problem with a lot of these foods is, they're not really food, and they've got a lot of ingredients in them that are, you wouldn't have in your cupboard at home if you were going to make these things. You can't pronounce, and on a more serious note, often these things are put into our food to make the food not unsatisfying, so it doesn't satiate us, so we want to buy more. But also, a lot of these ingredients are really bad for our health. This is just to remind us again about this is actually childhood obesity now, but when all these charts, the rate started going up was around the mid-70s when the food industry started booming. So it seems like there might be something else going on here. So maybe it's not our fault. Maybe it's something to do with the toxic food environment that we're living in. And for that to change is going to take years, decades. Most of us may not see the results of any changes that we'll say put now, but urgently the food industry does need to be regulated. But if you think about when Richard Dole wrote his paper about smoking causing lung cancer, which was published in the BMJ in 1950, and it took until 2007 for there to be a ban in the UK on smoking in public places. So even though we're getting a growing body of evidence about how bad these foods are for our health, it's going to take some time before any regulation is put into place that will then have a beneficial effect on our health. So in the meantime, we do need to think about what we can do as individuals to protect our own health. This is not it. So I hope we all agree on this. Telling people to eat less and move more does not work. We have been doing it for decades, and the obesity rates progress. So it's not working. And it might frustrate us that we can't just say to people, oh, it's simple biodynamics, just eat less, and then you'll lose weight. But unfortunately, we need to accept that it's not working. And this is where SatPro came into it. So we have a weekly educational meeting in North Central London, and Shima actually arranged for this remarkable human being and endocrinologist, Dr. Sarah Hamid, to come and talk to us about a weight loss program she had devised. So Sarah is an endocrinologist at St Mary's, and she works in a Tier 3 weight loss service. So in the UK, a Tier 3 weight loss service is where you will be referred if you go to see your GP about a weight problem. And that's where you can then have bariatric surgery, or more recently, the weight loss injections at the moment can only be given purely for weight in the NHS in these Tier 3 weight loss services. But she has devised a standalone intervention that could go alongside either of those other interventions or can stand alone. And it's a very holistic look at helping people to lose weight. I would love to talk to you in depth about the programme. It's absolutely brilliant, but you can buy her book, and she's got notes at the end for clinicians as well. So basically the programme is 6 two-hour sessions that's delivered online, each tackling a different topic. So the first topic, let food be your medicine. So we think about what we're eating. Are we putting the right fuel into our bodies? She talks about the relationship between carbohydrates and insulin, so people understand what's happening in their body when they eat certain foods, rather than just being given a list of things not to eat, but without any explanation. And we talk about why calories in, calories out doesn't work, why it's rubbish, and that actually thinking in terms of calories is just generally not helpful. So that's about what you eat. Then the second session is about when you eat, so the eating window and intermittent fasting. The third session is about movement and sleep. And interesting, the session about sleep this morning. It's very poor sleep contributes to overweight and obesity as well. The fourth session on the food industry, where she talks about a lot of the stuff that I introduced the session with. A really interesting session on language and the way that we talk to ourselves, and how we talk to ourselves, and how we can train our brains actually to let different information in and be more positive. The secrets of naturally lean people, which are not really secrets, but just a method by which people who probably don't even realise they're doing it, but those annoying people who seem to be able to just stay completely skinny no matter what they eat. This sort of explains that a bit. And the whole point of the whole programme is a low insulin way of life. So insulin is the fat controller, as Sarah says in the programme. So if we have high insulin levels constantly in our body, then we are fat storing. But if we have low insulin levels, then we will go into fat burning mode. And all of those things, not just what we eat, but the timing of eating, movement, sleep, and even language can contribute to that. this was her research. I'm just going to whiz a bit now because I've only got 5 minutes left. So she did it as research, and she published it, and she got just over 15% reduction in body weight, which is comparable to bariatric surgery. And even at, that was at the end of the programme, and at 1 year, although the rate had stopped such a steep decline, you can see that people had still either maintained that weight loss on average or lost a little bit more weight. And she also showed brilliant beneficial effects on biochemical markers, HbA1c and lipids, etc. So to bring this into our HIV clinic at the Royal Free, first of all, I attended an entire session that Sarah delivered. And she generously shared all of her presentations with me. And also she sends daily emails to participants to keep them engaged and to reinforce learning. And so she gave me all of those emails as well to send. For my weight loss program that I've set up, I don't have any referral criteria. Anybody who wants to lose weight can join. You don't have to be a certain BMI, and I actually think the information in the program is absolutely brilliant, and everybody should know it, even those without a weight problem. We did the first 2 cohorts in January and June last year. The first cohort was all online. I did a morning session and an evening session, and then in June and going forward, we now offer a hybrid, so people can come in person as well if they want. 21 women and 21 men enrolled and engaged with the programme. So it's actually a lot more people than that enrolled, but I've only included in the analysis people that engaged, and that means they attended at least 1 session or responded to emails or returned their weights to me, just so I knew that they were actually sort of engaged with the programme and not just ignoring everything. Collected some baseline data on demographics. For obvious reasons, people on GLP-1 receptor agonists were included from the weight loss analysis, and participants were asked to return weekly weights, but I didn't make a big deal out of this, so the data is not complete. It's only if people felt comfortable and confident to do so, because I was providing a service to them. It wasn't done for the purposes of research. Some people definitely came to sessions but never returned a single weight, so I couldn't really include them in the demographic in the analysis. Baseline demographics, so weird that it was exactly the same number of men and women, but the women were majority Black African women, and then it kind of switched around with the men who were majority white men. And you can see the average BMIs across each group starting were sort of fairly similar, and the other parameters as well. So in this sort of real-world data, women lost on average, so it's the end of the 10 weeks, it's 6 sessions, 5.89 kilos, which was 6.17% of their body weight. And it's annoyingly always easier for men, isn't it? So they sort of were a bit higher. And the biochemical markers, I was a bit disappointed in the results because anecdotally in my clinic, I was really seeing some significant drops in people that had joined the program, but I think that was just my brain letting the positive information in only, because actually when I did the analysis, I mean, it was overall a net drop, but with the low numbers and the wide ranges, I think it's a little bit difficult to draw any sort of significance from those data. And again, because it's real-world data and I wasn't doing it as research, I didn't even have all the data for everyone, because I only included their biochemical markers if they'd had them a certain time before and after the programme. Otherwise, it seemed like a bit meaningless. It may be obvious to say the greatest weight loss was observed in those who engaged fully with the programme, and actually I presented a poster just from the first cohort at Glasgow last year, just purely on the weight loss, because I didn't have any of the biochemical data then, and I did it together with Sarah, and she thought that we should just include people who had attended the full programme, which I can see why, and the weight loss in that group were the ones that had definitely attended the full programme was even more impressive. But I just sort of wanted to today to talk about sort of the real world, what's actually happening in the clinic, rather than the sort of superstars. So conclusions, people participating in this program lost a clinically meaningful amount of weight. In these real-world data, greater improvement in biochemical metabolic markers was seen in men, but I don't think we can necessarily draw a huge amount of significance from those data. But the patient feedback is so positive, like really wonderful response to this program. And I think the results suggest significant potential benefits of this program for people living with HIV. Thank you. Oh, sorry, acknowledgements just to Dr. Sarah Hamid, because she's amazing. She's so generous with her intellectual property, and to my boss Fiona for supporting me in developing the programme, and to Margaret Johnson for encouraging me to submit the data to this meeting and supporting me. Thanks.